WrestleMania 11. People look back at WrestleMania 11 and probably not think too fondly of the event itself. It was more so about trying to recapture WrestleMania 1 from 10 years earlier. I will get into that later on, but first, to look at WrestleMania 11, we must start off with the WWF champion. Big Daddy Cool Diesel won the WWF title just days after the Survivor Series in 1994. Actually, he won it on the same day that I was at my first WWF event in London, Ontario. I got to see Lex Luger defeat Tatanka, while the New York crowd got to see Diesel win the WWF title. Seems kind of unfair if you ask me. But Diesel is now the champ, and he had to go into the Royal Rumble to wrestle the former champ, Bret Hitman Hart. Well, Diesel kept the title after it was ruled a no contest. So Diesel was going to be going to WrestleMania this year as champion. But this is the interesting story from the Royal Rumble. For Lawrence Taylor was at ringside, apparently invited by Big Daddy Cool Diesel as a special guest. He got into it with the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, after Bigelow and Tatanka lost in the tag team title tournament finals to the 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Sparkplug Holly. So, LT and Bam Bam have this face-to-face at the Rumble, and a shoving match happens, and we have, it looks like something's going to go down at WrestleMania between LT and Bigelow. It just feels that way right off the bat. Right here on Wrestling Superstars, we see LT didn't ruin Bigelow's career. He saved it, meaning about the match that they were going to be having. And it was going to be a big match. It ended up being the main event at WrestleMania 11. That's right. That was the last match on the card. Not the title match, but Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, entered number 1 and was there at the end. For the first time ever at that time in the WWF, we saw someone enter number 1 and be there at the end to win the Rumble, and that went to the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Not only did he get a WWF title opportunity at WrestleMania 11, he got to be side by side Baywatch's own Pamela Anderson. From August 1995, we see this visual here of Diesel and Shawn Michaels. Now, I know this magazine came out after WrestleMania, but this is the shot from their face-to-face confrontation, and I believe it was New York City. I think that's where it was. It was an outside event, and Diesel and Shawn got face-to-face, and they were trying to hype WrestleMania 11. And I guess they were probably trying to hype it there because of the history of New York and WrestleMania. And that is taken from that day. It happened, I want to say, 2 weeks before WrestleMania, maybe. It was. I forget. I did see it on the old WWE Classics on Demand. They actually showed this segment on one of their specials they had. May 1995, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, derailing Diesel, will Big Daddy Cool defrost at WrestleMania? So, they're already trying to give you an idea that Diesel's not going to be able to handle the main event spotlight pressure of WrestleMania. That he's going to fold and bend under the weight of it all. He's going to fall through the cracks, that we're going to see a new WWF champion at WrestleMania 11. Of course, Big Daddy Cool Diesel did otherwise. May of 1995, we get a picture of Lex Luger and Michael Jordan on the cover, which is pretty sweet. But the real story is the top right-hand corner, with Pamela Anderson still being talked about and heavily pushed down our throats during this time frame. Pamela Anderson, what she really thinks about the HB Kid, meaning the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. A story in there on Pam, what she thinks about Shawn. Of course, at WrestleMania, we all know what happened. Pam came out with Big Daddy Cool Diesel, and Jenny McCarthy came out with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. August 1995, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Yes, a lot of beautiful women on the cover, but the story is actually at the top. WrestleMania 11 results. LT stuns Bigelow. So if you want to get the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine that talks about WrestleMania 11 for the results, you got to get this magazine here, I guess, because it says it right up there, right? Which I find funny because the following month, September 1995, WrestleMania 11, a tailor-made success. Exclusive ringside coverage, match-by-match analysis, WrestleMania book of lists, shocking WrestleMania aftermath. So I don't know if maybe they didn't have, they weren't really planning to put anything about WrestleMania in that last magazine. And just by timing of when it was coming out and when WrestleMania took place, they could put the results in. I don't really know. But this one here as well, another magazine that's, for WrestleMania, so you can get an idea of everything that went down that night at WrestleMania 11. Now, earlier on, I said to you that WrestleMania 11 was almost kind of like taken from the WrestleMania 1 blueprint of how the show should run. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that is and some similarities of the event that match up with WrestleMania 1. First of all, the opening match. The good guys in Lex Luger and the British Bulldog were victorious. WrestleMania 1, Tito Santana was victorious. It kind of set the role, set the steam of what was going to happen at WrestleMania. The Intercontinental title match between the Junkyard Dog and Greg Valentine ended up in a count-out disqualification ordeal where the JYD was victorious but didn't win the Intercontinental title. Well, the same can be said for WrestleMania 11 between Razor Ramon, the challenger, and Double J Jeff Jarrett, the Intercontinental Champion. Razor won the match, but he didn't win the title. The tag team titles were defended at WrestleMania 1 when that evil Russian Nikolai Volkov and that evil Iranian Iron Sheik defeated good old USA boys Mike Rotundo and Barry Windham to become WWF Tag Team Champions. Well, at WrestleMania 11, we had that evil Japanese wrestler Yokozuna, who I think is from Samoa, Japan, because I don't think he was actually Japanese. And you also had that evil Canadian Owen Hart. And they won the tag team titles from those good old American boys, Billy and Bart, the Smoking Guns. You had Giant versus Giant and Big John Studd versus Andre the Giant, where Andre was victorious with a body slam because it was a body slam match. But you also had Giant versus Giant with King Kong Bundy versus The Undertaker, where Undertaker was victorious over Bundy. You had the main event of WrestleMania 1 being a tag team match, where it was two men in Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper against Hulk Hogan and a celebrity in Mr. T. Now, the only difference is for WrestleMania 11 is you get a WWF title match with Diesel and Shawn Michaels, and then you get the celebrity match with Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Now, looking back, should they have just made it a tag team match as well? LT was pretty blown up in the main event match if you go back and watch it. Bam Bam did all the work that night to get LT where he needed to be. And I wonder, looking back, if it was a tag team match, would it have helped protect Lawrence Taylor a little bit better? Then again, you don't get a championship match at WrestleMania. So it's hard to say which way they should have went. But I still do think that Vince McMahon looked at WrestleMania 1, tried to copy it for WrestleMania 11, and had it flop miserably. WrestleMania 11 overall isn't really that great, is it? People look back and they don't care for the year 1995 for the WWF. And WrestleMania 11 was kind of hard to sit through. A lot of celebrities that were not needed there, right? Like I talked about that in the history of WrestleMania 12 video that I just put up earlier on. But suffice to say, WrestleMania 11 did happen, and it is kind of fun to sit back and watch now and not really live through it in real time. But Inside Wrestling, August 95 also had a WrestleMania result in their magazine with the winners and losers. The real winner was Sid Vicious. The real loser was Razor Ramon. And the real winner was the WWF for the main event because, yes, it did get a lot of attraction and news worthy stories out there for the non-wrestling fans to see. The day after, that's right, Monday Night Raw, Sid snaps as friends reunite. Well, we all remember what happened there, right? Shawn Michaels told Big Sid, I'm giving you the night off. And Sid said, you don't give me the night off. And we had a brutal clothesline and power bombs galore. Shawn was getting Shawn was getting booed, and then Sid was getting cheered during the situation. Sid was getting cheered for power bombing Shawn Michaels over and over again, because at that moment, I don't think the fans realized the plan was to turn Shawn babyface. They thought Sid was being babyface and beating the hell out of Shawn Michaels. It wasn't until a week or so later when on Action Zone, out of all shows, the $1 Million Man showed that Sid was part of the $1 Million Corporation. So Diesel runs out on Monday Night Raw, runs into the ring, and goes after Sid and is there to protect his former friend, Shawn Michaels, who he just got done beating up the night before at WrestleMania 11. Also, 12 exciting pages of exclusive WrestleMania 11 coverage in this June 1995 WWF magazine. No, it's not a Raw magazine. That's just the banner from Raw, so it's just a normal WWF magazine. Then, Shawn Michaels comes back as the ultimate babyface. And who does he have eyes set on? Sid. And then we get the Shawn Michaels and Diesel tagging up with the help of Bam Bam Bigelow, because Bam Bam Bigelow now is a good guy. He has a championship match with Diesel on Raw, loses it, and then gets fired by the corporation, even though he says he quit. And it's a big to-do. And we get combinations of Diesel, Shawn, and Bigelow against the likes of Sid, Tatanka, and Kama Mustafa, right? In either six-man tags or in tag matches of variants, all over house show loops and such. So that is pretty much the WrestleMania 11. Now, WrestleMania 11, like I said, there's not a lot of magazines on it. Look out. Not a lot of, I don't even have the program for WrestleMania 11. Let me fix that. I don't have the program because I think I saw it once and it was like super expensive. Hold on, there's my finger, just in case you're wondering. There we go. It was really expensive, so I just didn't get it. And at the time, I wasn't collecting programs anyhow. So this is just a little one on WrestleMania 11 because I want to save the ones like WrestleMania 7 and WrestleMania 9 and WrestleMania 10 and WrestleMania 6 and such for later on. I just these ones were kind of smaller and easy to do. I might try to do a WrestleMania 13. I think I can do one of those. I might even do it later on tonight when I'm bored. I've been off the last 2 days. Not a lot going on, so I was like, I'm making some videos. It's gives me something to do. It gives you guys something to watch if you're bored. So that's the plan here. But what were your thoughts on WrestleMania 11? Do you agree with me? Was Vince trying to copy the blueprint of WrestleMania 1? Like I said, there are some similarities between the two. And I still think to this day he was trying to recreate the magic of 1985 in 1995, but it wasn't going to be happening. It was a different era, different wrestlers. You can't recreate that magic in a bottle again, right? When you look back at the old WrestleMania 1, you had Hogan, you had Piper, you had Orndorff, you had Valentine, Beefcake, JYD, Andre, Sheik, and Volkov. It was just a different atmosphere in wrestling at that time than 1995. Yes, Diesel was cool. Shawn was athletic. Brett was still Brett, amazing as ever. Luger and Bulldog were super over. Undertaker was mysterious. Bigelow was athletic for being a big guy, but still at the same time, it's not the same. It's just not the same. All right, guys, let me know what you think about WrestleMania 11. Thumbs up, thumbs down for that event. Would you actually go back and watch it, or would you rather forget that it even existed? I personally don't mind going back to watch clips of it. I don't know if I can sit through the whole 3 hours, but I can definitely sit through Diesel versus Shawn. I could probably sit through Razor versus Jeff Jarrett. There's some matches on there I could still watch. But the entire show, maybe not. That Bret Hart match with Bob Backlund was brutal, by the way. That was that submission match with Roddy Piper as the guest referee. That was probably Bret's worst match ever. And honestly, it was just boring. It sucked. And to make it worse, it was at WrestleMania. So poor Bret. All right, guys. Until I do my next one, I'll talk to you later.